Here's Senator John McCain.
How do you describe our economic strategy to deal with what is very painful to many Americans and it's not looking to get any better, although the chair of the DNC says it's turning around? I don't think so, but that's what she says.
Well, I think the facts are stubborn things, and that is that the so-called recovery has stalled as the stimulus funds have dwindled. I don't think there's any doubt that the stimulus was a failure, that many of the efforts at the housing market have failed, and I think that the American people are very concerned about a return to another severe recession.
Do you think the president's looking to another stimulus, and he's getting a lot of criticism for the remark about shovel-ready not really being shovel-ready, which I know a lot of people jump him for it, but then, you know, Governor Romney said earlier that he made a joke about how he's unemployed too, looking for a job, which probably wasn't the best thing for him to say. So, you know, everybody says things that I think they want do-overs on. But
I know.
Bottom line is, you know.
I know from experience occasionally there will be a verbal misstep, which you hear about for a long, long time, particularly if you're a candidate. I think the problem is that the president believes that money will get us, government money and taxpayers' money will get us out of this problem, these problems we're in. I think also it's very important that while he's talking about a lack of regulations, free trade, those kinds of reduction in government regulations, his government is doing the opposite. We continue to crank out regulations that harm small businesses, medium and large businesses. It's clear that major companies in America are sitting on large amounts of money. They are not investing that money because of the uncertainty about what their taxes and what the regulations are going to be and whether they'll be able to grow and prosper. And until they have the confidence that this is truly a free enterprise, less regulation, lower taxes government, unfortunately, it's going to be hard to come out of this.
I guess that's why I asked what's the current strategy, because the president's idea about a stimulus bill that February 2009, over $800 billion, and here we are 2.5 years later, and we're still in a mess. So that strategy doesn't look workable unless, of course, the head of the DNC is right. I don't think she is. But and so I think the American people know, like, are we going to have another stimulus bill? If so, can you prove to us the last one worked, or why the next one will? And if we're not doing that, you know, we can't just say, you know, cut taxes, get rid of regulations. We need action. We know, what are we going to do? Not what are we going to talk about?
Well, first of all, I would remind you that the president and his economic advisor said if we pass the stimulus package, that unemployment would be a maximum of 8%. I mean, that's just a matter of fact.
Your state's 9.3% in April.
It's very tough. One reason is because our housing market is so difficult. We need to reform the tax code. We need to make sure that taxes are low. We need to pass free trade agreements. Trade is very important. The president said we would double our exports in 5 years, and now they are not moving with these free trade agreements with South Korea, Colombia, and Panama. There's so many things that we could do in order to inspire confidence and help small businesses who are the job creators. And instead, we continue to go out and he gives nice speeches, and really there's no follow-up to it. He committed a few weeks ago to the free trade agreements, remember? And since then, there has been no movement on the part of the Congress, either in the Senate or the House or any leadership from the White House. It's one thing to talk about things, and it's another thing to get things done.
Ethanol, huge fight up here. I know that you had an amendment to defund the infrastructure, that the government was funding infrastructure to encourage more ethanol. Something like $6 billion is poured into subsidies for ethanol or so. What happened to your amendment?
Well, it lost because of the influence of the ethanol lobby. Ethanol is probably the greatest ripoff that I've seen since P.T. Barnum. It takes more energy to make a gallon of ethanol than it is that you get from it. It has distorted the markets. It's cause the price of corn to go up, which then is reflected in food prices. It's protectionist. It is one of the most outrageous examples of the influence of special interests. And we just showed the American people today we're really not serious. And I'm sorry to tell you that. But when we can't cut ethanol subsidies, when we're willing to spend $20 billion to install a ethanol pump for free in a gas station and the storage space for it, and we're going to spend $20 billion of taxpayers' money to do that, which I tried to stop today and lost. It's an outrage, and the American people should be absolutely outraged.
Well, the thing that makes this one even a little different is that it's not like Republicans versus Democrats. This is regional. Those United States senators who are in the areas that have ethanol. And so I guess when I say, you know, what can we do now, if the United States Senate isn't like making sort of those hard decisions, we see special interests going on while there's sort of talk about the big picture, it doesn't make you feel too comfortable.
Well, the American people, as of last November, expected us to act. And if we don't act, then I think they're going to try to find somebody else that will. But this example of a failure to address ethanol, at least to phase out these incredible subsidies of ethanol, is really, I'm sorry to say, a signal to the American people we're really not serious, and the special interests still govern here in Washington.
Is it fair to say we've been taken for a ride, the American people?
I think that the American people have been mistreated because we are spending their tax dollars on a product that helps neither our economy nor our environment, but it does go to a handful, a very small number of people who have become incredibly rich over these subsidies, and it's really too bad.
Senator, thank you, sir.
Thank you.